Let's go straight in. Here we are. Oh my gosh, we're live. Look at that, Ruth.
Hi. Look,
Hey.
there we go. Hi, everyone. We're so excited.
Hello and welcome. All right. So, Ruth, what is today?
Today is a very special day. My dog is barking, so excuse it. I don't know why he's decided now to bark, but
Because he loves reading Roald Dahl.
because he's excited because it's Roald Dahl Day. It's so special that look, I have my BFG jumper
Oh,
on.
no way. Look at that. Amazing.
I know. BFG is by far my favorite Roald Dahl book. I loved it. I tried to find it because it was mine's all like battered and beat up. The copy that I had as a kid because I read it so much, but I can't find it. Must be at my parents' house. I don't know.
Oh,
but yeah.
well, guess what I have? I have
Yeah.
my own copy of Danny, the Champion of the World.
So cool.
From 1975, Ruth.
Wow.
Look at this thing. It is torn to pieces.
It has seen some stuff, that book. Like,
Well,
yeah.
I've read it so many times. In fact, I read it almost every year, believe it or not. Isn't that nice?
I love it.
Just love it so much. It's such a great book. All right, so let's get everybody the information they need. We have the page at the bottom. You can see the banner. It says access this page. This is for everybody who wants to be doing these creative exercises with us. We've got 2 challenges today, and we're going to have a look at those in a moment. But first things first, if you are on iPad, this is very important. Make sure to check your teacher email for the iPad live stream. So those of you on iPad, you're going to get a separate email, and that'll have the link to the live stream for you. So make sure and check that email for all the iPad folks out there. Ruth, before I show everybody what the challenge is today, what's the one thing that Dom's always giving me a hard time about this? So I wanted to see if you know. What is the one thing we always want to tell everybody up top?
So yeah, so Dom is always telling us to mention this. So don't forget that because you're taking part today, if you reply email-wise, you can get access to some free stuff, which is really exciting. So your teachers, if they just email Dom, you can get some free stuff, which is just called swag, stuff we all get. Stuff you all get, not stuff we all get.
No, we don't get to have it. We don't get the fun stuff, do we? No.
No. And then if you share whatever you've learned today, so if you share that as well, you'll be able to qualify for VIP swag. That dog is just barking the whole time. I don't even know if you can hear it, but he's just like, rawr, rawr, rawr. Yeah, so you can qualify for VIP swag, which is just slightly special. I think it's just like an additional thing. I don't want to ruin it.
I think it's a new car, right? This time, I think
a new car. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for every kid.
I can't remember if it's a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. It's one of the two. Oh wait, I think I just gave it away. I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah. Secrets. But yeah. So it's just to remember about that. And then the other thing that we kind of need to get to explain before we get started is that this session, Cal's already said it, this session is the Chromebook or the browser one. So that's great. And again, you can see at the bottom, do the iPad users. But the main thing is Cal and I are going to be showing off the new Adobe Express. If at any point your class are working away and maybe need a bit more time, the cool thing about this is that you can actually pause the live video. Now, Kyle's internet is acting up a little bit, so sometimes it looks like he's paused, but we can still hear him. But it doesn't mean that you're going to pause us. Don't worry. So if you are stuck at any point, just pause that video. Just be mindful of obviously the time. We are finishing around 2:45. So just if you're pausing for long periods of time, you might run out of time for the session. But you can always access this at any point later. It's all recorded, which is nice. So pause away. We'll try to build in some time. The cool thing is that Kyle's going to show some stuff and I'm going to show pretty much the exact same thing. So you're going to see everything twice, which is really nice because you get to see it twice. And if you missed it the first time, you'll hopefully be able to catch it the second time. But that's pretty much everything, right?
Yeah. That's the best. You know, well, now, so let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen because I want to show everybody what we have for Roald Dahl Day today. I'm going to switch over here to this tab, and we're going to take a look at today's challenges. Okay. If you find these, I've got the link down at the bottom for you. Okay, right there. And don't worry about this little QR code. We don't need that. Happy Roald Dahl Day, everybody. And here you're going to see challenge 1. Now, what we're going to do is make our own book covers. And if anybody out there knows James and the Giant Peach, what we're going to do is replace James with your name and Peach with enormous apple or gigantic peach or whatever you want. It could be anything. Well, I said peach, strawberry.
You did say peach. I didn't even notice. I was just
nodding. You do your own fruit, your own vegetable, whatever you like, okay? And that's what we're going to do. And we'll show you how to do a book cover design in Express. It's very simple. And here's what you need to include: a very large fruit, okay, or a vegetable, an interesting background. And we'll talk about that in a moment because it's important to have the background be something simple, but that can also show that the fruit or vegetable is larger than normal. Title text in a funky format. You'll notice here that we're using each of the words in the title, okay, individually as part of the design. And finally, characters or objects, okay? So for example, here is a representation of, I assume, Kyle on the cover, okay? And you're going to be able to see, there's another little summary of that, which I think some people probably already had a chance to watch. If not, don't worry about it. We're going to walk you through it. The second challenge is we're going to make what's called book trailer, okay, or a book preview. And this is actually a video. We're going to do a very simple video. It's easy to follow along. And we have some text here, okay, that explains the story of James and the Giant Peach. And we're going to try and do a book trailer for James and the Giant Peach through video. And we're even going to be able to add narration. And so all the teachers out there, this is the narration we want for everybody to be able to read in their own voice, all right? And we can use that for the trailer, and you see how we do that, but want to make sure everyone's aware that this is our resource for today, okay? All right, so Ruth, should I kick it off?
Yeah, let's get started. I'm really excited to create my own cover.
So here we are in the brand new Adobe Express, and a lot of things are going to look similar. Some things will look a little different for you, okay? But first things first, here's the magic button, all right? This little purple button, the plus sign, this means I want to create something new. If I tap on that, I have quick actions, which will allow me to do all kinds of things that are very common. I can make a custom size document. But right now, I just want to use my little search bar here and type book, B-O-O-K, and look at the first result that comes up. We get a book cover, and that's what we're making today. So I'll select book cover. And right away, it opens up our blank canvas or blank artboard. Call it whatever you like, okay? I don't know what you prefer, Ruth, artboard or canvas. I like to say canvas, but that's because I work in Photoshop a lot.
Yeah, that's true. I say artboard, but yeah.
There we go. Well, 50-50.
Already different.
We're split 50-50.
That's it.
All right. So moving on. The first thing I want to do is find that interesting background, okay? Now, I'm doing Kyle and the oversized orange, and I want to use the seashore, the ocean. So the first thing I'll do is right here where I can search, I'm going to type seashore. And right away, I get all kinds of great results, okay? But you'll notice something. These images, these photos are horizontal. They're wider than they are tall. So what I want to do, and this is a trick for all of you out there when you're searching in Express, you can actually, after any word you type, you can type the word horizontal or vertical, and it'll change the results. So let's type vertical.
I did not know that.
That out.
There you go.
And look, now it limits me to mostly vertical images, or it favors the vertical over the horizontal. And right away, I see a couple of images I really like. This one is pretty cool, and so is this one. Now, I think this is the one I want to use. So I'm just going to tap on that, and it automatically places it right there on my canvas or artboard. And if I tap on it once more, I get what are called handles, see? And if I drag one of these handles, I can resize that artwork, okay? I'm gonna make this quite large because I want there to be quite a bit of ocean down there at the bottom, all right? And once I'm happy with that, I'm on to the next bit. And the next bit is I need an orange. So coming back to my search, let's type ORANGE. Whoops. There we go. And look at all these oranges. I'm so lucky because this
Orange.
one straight out of this
Yep.
is just perfect.
Yep.
Just tap on that and place it on the canvas. All right, and I want to make it really big. So I'm going to enlarge it by dragging again, okay? But check this out. I'm even going to drag it off the canvas a little bit, okay? Now you'll notice a big problem with this orange, which is that it's sitting on a white background. So anybody out there know what to do about that? Who knows what to do about that? I know a lot of these folks from all these great schools that are tuning in probably have a good idea. So let's go ahead and try this. We're going to remove background. See this right here? Bam.
Magic.
Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. And it's going to take away all of that white.
Very good.
Beautiful. All right, now I'm going to show you another cool trick, Ruth, and then I'll kick it over to you if you want to try and do the same thing. Maybe a different fruit. I don't know.
Oh, I've got my idea. Yep.
Cool. So here we go. When you see something in the water, all right, like an orange, it's bobbing up and down, but it's not sitting on top of the water, right? It's got a little bit of itself in the water.
Yep.
So there is this option right here. Okay, it says crop. I'm going to tap on crop. And if you look here, I now have new handles and I can drag them up like this and I can cut off a bit of the bottom of that orange so it's sitting in the water. Okay. And when I tap again, you'll notice now that when I move this orange around, see that bottom bit is all flattened out. Perfect. Not a bad trick. And I can duplicate that orange, make a copy of it, okay? 2 oranges now. I'll do that right here. You can see my image, and there's this little square on top of 2 squares. When I tap on that, look, it made a second orange. Why would I want to do that? I'll show you. Right over here, you have this option to flip the orange. And what I want to do is flip it vertically, so top to bottom. So let's go ahead and tap on that and see it's turned it upside down. I'm going to move it under this other orange, and you see those nice pink lines that tell me that everything is lined up perfectly straight? I'll leave it there. And last little bit here, Ruth, before I pass it over to you, this is really cool. Yeah. I'm going to change the opacity. That's a fancy word for the see-through-it-ness.
See-through-itness. Yeah.
So if I take that little slider there and start moving it to the left, watch the orange there. See what happens?
Oh, looks like it's a reflection.
Cool. Yeah, now it's more transparent, right? And now it looks like the orange is sitting in the water and it's got a reflection. Pretty cool. All right, so let's pass it over to you and see how we go.
Brilliant. So again, while you guys are all working away, I'm just going to repeat what Kyle did. So to get started, we're in Adobe Express. We're going to click on the plus button. I see a lot of Northern Ireland skills saying hello. Hello, Northern Ireland. It's very nice to see you. And I'm going to search book. And the first one is book cover, so don't forget about that. A lot of Welsh skills as well, which is great because of Roald Dahl. Unfortunately, Kyle and I will not embarrass or do anything, insult anyone to try and pronounce some of those Welsh skills, but everyone is very welcome. It's great. So we have our book cover created, and the first thing we wanted to do was get the lovely vertical photograph in the background. Okay, so I'm going to go to media. I'm going to search seashore, and remember that great tip that Kyle told us about, which is type vertical. Can't believe that. That's so good. Didn't know that. And we're going to choose whatever background you want. Now, obviously, there's lots of different ones, but the one that Kyle chose is quite nice because it allows us to have that flat bottom, sort of floaty orange looking thing. So I've got my image in. Whenever I click on it, I have these lovely handles. Don't forget, that's how we resize. Kyle's is flat. Like, so many comments, isn't there? It's great.
Oh, it's great. So many wonderful people joining in. I'm so glad everyone's here to learn how to do this.
Yep. So I'm going to resize mine. I kind of want it sitting there. Might make it a wee bit bigger. this bottom bit just by expanding.
That
So
looks
the
great.
bigger the bigger I make that, the more ocean that I have, which is kind of what we want because there was only a little tiny strip of it. So we have our lovely background. This time, what we need to do is you chose an orange. I'm going to go for full alliteration. And I was thinking of doing Ruth and the ridiculous radish. Sure, let's try it. So I'm going to search radish, and there is actually this little radish, which works well. I had thought that one's quite cool with the green, but realistically, if it was bobbing in the water, it would probably be sideways due to the weight of all those leaves. So I'm going to try this little tiny one. But then part of me is like, you know what? Let's make it more ridiculous. So I'm going to add in this crazy big radish, which is actually just the leaves are going to be like the size of skyscrapers. So I'm going to resize it. I'm going to hit that magical button called remove background. Okay. And remove background is magic. Let's see how good it works on these because it's like a gray background. So I'm going to hit remove background. Pretty great. And we have our ginormous leaves. What I am going to do, because my radish is very top heavy, I'm going to use this little rotate tool. And I'm going to make it look like it's sort of falling over a bit. I know, I need to make it way bigger. See, the only thing is now I'm like regretting choosing this radish because I think it might be a bit too big.
Well, it can always fly off the edge of the canvas. That's fine.
Yeah, that was true. Yep, that's right. We'll overlap it. So I think what I'm going to do is just about that. So we've got the big green stalks kind of there. I'll probably, when you come back to me, it'll probably be a different radish. But anyway, so you get the idea. So I've got the big radish.
You can switch up the radish anytime you want. I don't mind. I can kick it back to you in a minute, or we can
No. I think I am actually. I think I'm going to try this little small one. So just again, just for you to see, I'm going to choose this radish just because those are a bit more, like it fell off the tree, radishes don't grow on trees, do they? No, they're in the ground. Anyway, so I'm going to do remove background. We know our fruits and vegetables, guys. It's fine. I'm going to do remove background. There it is. See, that's a wee bit more manageable.
Very nice. I like it.
Yeah, I kind of like this little tail. It's kind of creepy, the little root. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to crop. So if you remember, that's the little trick that Kyle was saying about making it look like it's submerged slightly in the water. And the only thing is I'm going to have a wee bit of an issue as such because my radish is tilted. So if I...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
well, I guess you could crop it. You could have the radish tilt completely horizontally and crop it on the side.
That's true.
That might work.
That. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So if I go there and go to crop, then I just need to drag it up a little bit so that some of my radish is underneath. That looks pretty good.
That looks great.
Yeah, and I might just make it a wee bit bigger again. Like that, okay? And then what we're going to do is, you remember, we're going to do the little reflection. So there's a couple of buttons that we need to hit. So the first one is we need to make a duplicate of our current radish or current vegetable fruit. So to do that, we click on it and we go up to these two little boxes with the plus. And I'm going to click on that and we have a lovely, perfect duplicate. Nicely, it removes the background. It has the crop all on it. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to click the second button that's really important, and that's the flip one. So that's where we're going to make it look like it's a reflection by doing flip vertical. So if I click on that, we have this weird upside down radish. I'm going to move it down and position it so where we cropped it is where we want it to meet. We want those two to touch. And I can see, using those lovely pink alignment lines, we can line this up here. And then the last step is to make sure that we drop the opacity down. And again, this can be trial and error, depending on your background and depending on what fruit or vegetable you've picked. A higher opacity might work better, or a really low opacity might work. It's up to you. This is where a little bit of trial and error comes into it. So I'm going to do around 40. I quite like that. And there we go. We have a giant radish.
That looks really good.
Yeah, that was like, I think I'm going to put my little person on the stalk, I think, but yeah.
Yeah.
So Anyway, I'll pass it back over to you, Cal, and you can get us up to date with what
I
else.
really like the color combination too. That red on blue with that looks really lovely. That's a good color combo. Well, one of the things I'm going to do now is add an object. Remember we talked about interesting objects. I'm going to add a ship because I want to show something I can compare that we all know. We know how big a ship is, okay, to an orange. We know how big an orange should be. In this case, it's enormous. So why don't we go over here and we'll type SHIP, a whole bunch of options. Now I'm looking for one that's just facing sideways, okay? A profile, if you will. Let's see. There are a few of them in there. I like this one. All right, check it out. There is a ship. Now, let's take a look at that ship and notice right away that we have water with that photo and sky and sun. How intelligent and how amazing do you think the remove background is going to be? Let's see. Let's see.
I'm waiting to see it. This is the most exciting thing in Express, is seeing how good the remove background works.
Let's do it. Remove background. Okay, it's going to think for a moment. It's using its little computer brain. And will it get it right? Or no, the suspense is really too much for me here.
Spinning and spinning.
Express. Come on. It's thinking, well, wait, is that water part of the ship? Is that sun? No. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. I have so much confidence.
It could be the internet.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, look at that.
Hey, it heard me.
There it is. So now look, if you have a little ship next to an orange that size, I mean, that gives you a really good idea. Now I'm going to put it a little further up on the water, which means closer to what's called the horizon line, okay, where the water meets the sky. And shrink it down just a hair. There we go. Maybe a little bit bigger than that. And then do exactly what we did with the orange. Quickly, we're going to duplicate it, right? We're going to flip it vertically. We're going to slide it on over until it lines up with the other boat. Yeah. And then we're going to reduce the opacity. Okay, so it's transparent. And there it is. All right, now what do we need? We need a little character, and that'll be pretty much the end of the graphics before I get to my titles. Okay, so let's go ahead, and this is really simple. I'm just going to type boy, right? And one of these boys is going to be Kyle. Let's see. This guy. I like him right there. Look at him. All right. Put him right there on the arm. And we're going to rotate him. Okay. And if any of you out there are working and you need to zoom in or zoom out of your work, there are multiple ways to do this. Okay. The first is if you're on a trackpad, you can use your fingers to pinch, okay, and zoom in, or open them to zoom out. Okay, try that. The other way to do it is you can come right up here. You'll see view options and a number. That's the number that represents how big, okay, what percentage of your total design you're seeing here. And you can zoom in and zoom out right there. And you can also select numbers. See if I go to 50%, 25%, 100%, 75%. Okay, totally up to you. And then if you're on a trackpad, you can use two fingers to scroll up and down. Right? Your squads. Okay. It should be a little quicker because, you know, once it's done, I'm going to place them on the orange. And then I'm pretty much all set with my basic design, and I'm ready to move on to my text. If you finish out what you're working on.
Sure.
Here.
No problem. So I have my radish. I moved it over just to make it bigger. That was the only thing.
That's great.
And now we get to add in something that provides the scale, because at the minute it could look like just a normal radish in like a pond or something. So we're going to add in our ship. So I'm going to go to media and I'm going to type in ship. And I'm going to see what kind of boat. Now you chose a really good photo. I'm going to see if there's something. I quite like the idea of these big tankers, you know, like the big, like cruise ships good because they're big. But then you also have these ones, which are really big, the cargo ships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add this in. I'm going to just make it a wee bit bigger so that we can see it a bit clearer. And I'm going to hit remove background, that magical, magical button.
Oh my gosh. And now that we know what it can do, I have total confidence that it's going to get it right. Look at that.
So good. And then the main thing is we want to scale it back down, because this is, remember, this ship, this cargo boat or ship is massive, but obviously the radish is meant to look way bigger. So I'm going to just position it about there, so it looks like it's sailing past. I'm sure the captain's like, oh, or make it just a wee bit bigger, so it's actually, you can see it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it, and we're going to use that duplicate button, which is the two squares at the top, just under image. We've got a lovely duplicate. Remember, we want to flip it. This is Kyle's trick of how to do a reflection. So we're going to flip vertical, which is just found under here. We're going to reposition so that it works. Now, see, I thought by my eye that was working, but I've noticed I need to zoom in. So I'm going to click up here.
Good, yeah.
100%.
Excellent.
Because I don't have a trackpad, so I have to do it that way. Because I don't want, see the way that looks like it's perfect, but we have a little line of water. So I wouldn't have seen that unless I was zoomed in. So I'm just going to move that up. Using my arrows, I can move that across. And then I'm just going to drop the opacity, because then we
that's so good.
Our little boat floating in the ocean. And then I'm going to go zoom to fit all, so I can see everything again. And there's our lovely scale, which is great, which is exactly what we want. Now I get to add in the person on top. Now, obviously, if you had a picture of yourself, you could add yourself in. I don't. So I'm just going to type in, I don't know, I was thinking like just girl glasses. They have to have glasses. Like, no, I'm going to do, actually, I was wondering if I could do girl sitting. Perfect. So I kind of wanted it to be that they're just chilling on the,
yeah, great.
So what I'm thinking is, see, this one's quite fun. I think I'll do this one, actually, just the sitting. Pointing, because I'm like pointing at the title. I don't know.
Aha, that's good, yeah.
I'll click on that. I'll go to remove background. I'll scale down and then just plop me. Might just rotate a wee bit. And again, I'm going to just zoom in because it's quite hard to see. And there's Ruth just sitting on the raft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks okay. It probably needs to be a bit smaller. Yeah, something like that. You can play around with yours. I'm pretty happy with that. Just a little random person on a radish, although probably too big due to the scale, but
well, we can assume the radish is closer to us than the
right?
boat.
Yeah. It's the boat's far away, but the radish is close. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at, and hopefully you guys have all of your graphic stuff. That's everything, because Kyle is now going to show us how to add in our title, which I'm very excited about.
I am indeed. Yeah. All right. We're doing very well on time. I hope everybody's keeping up and everything's good. Before I get to the text, I want to show you one more cool trick. Just something to keep in mind when you're making these kinds of designs with photographs. And that is that things cast shadows. You don't always have to create a shadow, but if you want things to look a bit more like they're actually in the picture, check this out. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take my picture of the boy here, and we're just going to add a shadow under his feet. And it's really simple to do this. I'm going to use elements over here on the left. Elements include design, assets, backgrounds, and the last category is shapes. And you'll notice that right there I have circles, okay? I'll just tap one to the right, and here is an oval. I'm going to put that oval on my canvas, slide it over this way. Okay, I'm going to make it a little smaller, put it over here, and then I'm going to squish it using these handles. From the bottom, just going to drag up, and look at that. Okay, make it a little smaller, and rotate it so it's at the same angle as this boy. Okay, there we go. All right, now that I've got it placed there, I'm going to change the color right here where it says fill. I'm going to go ahead and use a custom color, okay? So you have your swatches and your custom colors. And when you tap on custom colors, you get different colors you can choose from. Here are all the colors, okay? We call them hues. And then here in this box, you can control how dark, how light, or how brightly colored or saturated the color is. So if I slide up this way, look what happens, all right? And you'll see the color change right there. Now, here's a cool thing. We're out in the sun. It's a bright day, and the sky is blue. So I'm actually going to use a blue color for the shadow, okay? And once I've got that, I make it a little darker. There we go. Here's what we'll do next. We're going to take that shadow, and remember that trick we had with the opacity, of the see-through-ness, okay? I'll just reduce the opacity of that, all right? So it's a little bit lighter, maybe like 50%.
Mm-hmm.
And the last step, Ruth, is blend modes. If you've never played with blend modes, they're really cool. We're actually probably going to use them maybe later with the video. We'll see.
Cool.
Right here, it says blend, and I'm going to change the mode from normal by tapping on it to multiply. And what that does is it makes it blend whatever color it has with the color that's underneath it. Okay, so the blue mixed with the orange makes that nice green. And that's just a more natural kind of looking shadow color. The last thing I have to do is take that shadow, okay? You remember we have different layers over here on the right. Different things are on top of other things, okay? You'll see the boy here is under the shadow. Well, that doesn't make any sense. We want to take the boy, drag him up above the shadow, and now I've got that shadow there. I might reduce the opacity a little bit more, and now we've got a little shadow. And if I zoom out, you'll see, okay, what a difference that makes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of grounds him to the orange. And just to show you the difference, I'll take the shadow and disappear it for a moment. Okay, there it is without, and now there it is with. All right, so time for some titles. Let's go to text right here. And we're going to start from scratch. We have lots of different options here you can use, but we're just going to say add your text. This big purple button right there. And I'm going to start with just one word, the name. Okay, so Kyle. There we go. We'll take that. We'll slide it up here, make it a bit bigger. Okay, after all, it is a title. And you could say Kyle and the oversized orange, and that could just be the whole title. But we're going to try something cool today where we're going to take different words and separate them from each other in the title and design them in a way that looks cool. Okay. Yep. So first things first, I think this font is boring. So let's go and see what is recommended here by Express. If you go to recommended and tap on that, you're going to see a bunch of different options. Okay. And when you find one that you want, slower than others, right? Let me go back. I saw something kind of bold that I really like. That's kind of fun. I think this might do the trick. Now, one of the other things you can do is you can take your text, and here, okay, you'll have the name of it, whether it's bold or not, the size of the text right here. And on the far right under that, you have this little option that has an arrow next to 3 lines. You tap on that, you can do letter spacing. Look at this. You can make it really tight, really far apart, okay? So you want to get that to feel something, you know, that just feels good to you. And there, I've got Kyle. Okay, now we want and the. All right, so let's go ahead and take Kyle, and we'll just duplicate it, same as we do with other things, right? We can duplicate stuff really easily. Tap on it. And we're going to duplicate it right here. Boom. Now this is going to be smaller because the words and the aren't as interesting or exciting, are they? And
no. They're still important, but yeah, it's more Kyle is the main focus, right?
Yeah. And I can slide them up over here and give them a little bit of a nice place to nest there under the Y, because the Y has a descender, which is that bottom part of the letter. and you can get the and the to sit up closer to the L and the E. And that's a nice little bit of spacing, okay? Now we need oversize. So let's go ahead and do another duplicating for Kyle there. I'm going to use all capital letters because that's more exciting, okay? Oversized. There we go. Now, oversized is a longer word, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I try and make it a lot bigger, it starts to really take over that entire chunk of my design. I kind of don't want it to do that. So one of the cool things you can do is use a font that is taller, more narrow, but more compressed, okay? So let's see if I can find one of those. I'm going to look here through these options that they have. Let's see, oversized, oversized. Show me something that's a little bit more compressed. And by the way, that's called a condensed font, okay? In fact, over here, I could maybe search for condensed. Come up with, oh boy, what's this? Ah, I like that. And look, it has different weights.
Nice.
Okay, so I could maybe do medium. I could do regular. I think that works quite nicely.
It does.
All right, so it's smaller, and I can always compare it to this one. There we go. And then bring it on down here. Kyle and the oversized. Now we can say orange. I'll use the same font as Kyle. Once again, we'll duplicate it. Bring it on down here. And we'll just say orange. Maybe I'll do this in all caps too. What do you think?
Yeah.
That might work. All right. I can align it there with the D. Okay. The other thing I'm looking at is the spacing between each of these. Kyle and there's a little space between the line here, the line here, the line here. I kind of want to make those feel similar to one another, okay? And I think that feels pretty good. Now, do you know about grouping, Ruth?
Like where you can have multiple items or objects, but if you move them or like resize them, they all go together. Like that.
So I just grabbed all of that text, Kyle and the oversized orange. I grabbed each one by holding down the shift key on the keyboard.
Yep.
And now I can either resize them all together, okay, like this. Or I could even group them, and then they'll always be one big group if I want to. You have this option right here for grouping, right? But I want to place that somewhere that feels good for my design, okay? And maybe I could use different colors now because they're all different words. So oversized could be, for example, maybe white. That really makes it stand out, right?
Yeah.
Kyle and the oversized orange. But what about the white on the cloud right there, the O? What do you do about that?
Yeah, that's hard.
No, let's do this. We'll take that word and look here. You can add a shadow. So if I tap on shadow, we have strong shadows here, and I can just tap on that, and I can change the color to be the blue of the sky. Let's try that. I'll use the little eyedropper tool here. The eyedropper lets you go over to your design and pick any color you see, like that, and see how that automatically pops.
Yeah, it looks much better.
Then what I can do is I can take that strong shadow, and here you see a couple of little sliders. That lets me play with things like the distance of the shadow from the text. See that? I can make it really far away or really close. And there we go. Now I can read all that. Kyle and the oversized orange. And that's it for my text. I just have to put the author's name at the bottom. So I'll pop it over to you and we'll see how you're going.
Sure. So I used that little trick that you did about the oval, just adding that in just underneath my person. So it just looks a wee bit better. I suppose at the minute I was just thinking though, one thing that I find is that clicking on the oval and changing it is hard whenever your character is on top. So the easiest thing to do is just to click on it here. And then, because I made it a bit too big. And then I'm just using my arrow keys to move that down. So you just want to That's just a little thing that I was getting a bit frustrated with. So I was like, oh, I can just click there.
Good trick.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get some text in. So I'm going to just zoom out because I'm zoomed in at 983%, which is crazy. There. And I'm going to go to text and add your text. And this is where I'm going to add my name in. I don't have that lovely lowercase y in mine. So my and I'm going to have to get a bit like, I'm going to have to get clever with my and. And so what I'm going to do is you can go to that recommended again and have a look through. I just clicked on view all.
Oh, cool.
And it kind of, it's just my internet. It loads quicker for me. If I do the scrolling, it doesn't load as well.
I like it better because you can see them more. You can see them larger too. That's better.
Yeah, I think so. It's nice that it shows you across where it is as well on the page. So yeah, you can kind of play around and see which one you quite like. I already know what font I want to use because it's the same font I use all the time because I'm very boring. But it's just something I want nice and chunky, which is the Montserrat. And I'm going to go, let's go medium weight. So we've got Ruth. And the only thing is I don't quite like all the space. I'm the same cat. I always change my spacing every time with text because it just makes your design look more custom. It doesn't look like you just typed it in, you've thought about it. That's what I really like. So I'm going to choose I've got my text box selected, and just below where you can change the size are these little arrows, and that's your text spacing. And then I'm going to change my line spacing to make it lower. I think it accidentally selected it. Not line spacing, letter spacing. Jeepers. So we're going to go letter spacing, you see, because I can actually squish it so it looks like there's no space at all, but I'm going to just have it very subtle. Pretty much I like that. This font is quite chunky, actually. So this is where Kyle and I always laugh because we kind of forget that we're meant to be telling you what to do or helping you because we just sit and look through fonts the whole time. Like it's 42 minutes in. I could very much do this the rest of the time. But yeah, because fonts are fun, it's showing your sort of personality as well, like what sort of style do you want to go for in this? And it's really important to kind of get the one that you like. Now, don't spend forever picking them because then you end up like me where you're like, can't pick because I love them all. But I'll just go with this for now. That's fine. So we have our Ruth, which is my first one. There's the dog back. And I'm going to go to duplicate at the top, bring it down, and I'm going to type and the. Now, this is where I don't have as much flexibility as to layout. So what I think I might do is I might put and the on two different lines. So and the. And I'm going to highlight it all, and I'm going to tell it to be left justified. So instead of it being in the center, it left justified. And I'm going to choose my line spacing because I'm going to have to be pretty clever with this. I'm going to resize this, okay? So this is where you can play around with what it sort of looks like. I'm just going to zoom in here. There, see, I'm pointing to where I need to go. Whee! And we've got this. So you can kind of play around with it and see what you like. And the are always the ones. Now you can notice that and the, even though there are 3 letters in each, are not the same width. That's the main thing that I'm having problems with. So what you can actually do is there's this little dynamic tool that I'm going to click. And it has auto capitalized.
Okay.
What was that? You kind of broke up a wee bit. What did you say?
Caps, actually.
It's okay, isn't it? You sound like a little robot at the minute, Kyle. Sorry. Maybe it's just my internet. Maybe it's my internet. It's all good. But yeah, so you can kind of play around with it and see. Again, you can turn off the dynamic if you'd prefer, but I'm pretty happy with something like that. I'm just going to change the line spacing because I kind of want it to be nice and chunky there. So again, the main thing that we just want to say is play around with your text. We've got time. It's really nice to do it. And you get to see all the different options. So I've got Ruth and the, and I'm just going to duplicate again. Now, this is where I get to choose. Now, I said I did do ridiculous radish, but I think 3 R's is too much. So I'm going to do mammoth. Yeah, I didn't just look up a big thesaurus. Like, I didn't just use thesaurus on the word big. I did. But yeah, and oh, see, that's quite cool. But it's quite hard to read. So that's the one thing to point out with fonts is you want to pick one that it's easy, because I know the words mammoth, but sometimes it's a bit difficult for people to see what that is. So I'm thinking mammoth, I kind of want like a big chunky font, like something like that.
It's good.
Yeah, or that one's even better. And all I need to do is drag that out and have that. And actually, I think you're right, Kat. I might go all capitals as well. Teachers are probably shouting at us, don't use all capitals. It looks nice. And you can kind of play around. What was that?
It's a title. With titles, you can do, unconventional things because it's a design exercise.
Exactly. We're just playing around. Like, I'm not like, I'm just sort of seeing what works, what doesn't. Again, I might change the layouts and things of what I'm doing as I'm going, but that's kind of the idea. So again, I'm going to choose a different color. I quite liked your idea of doing the white to make it stand out. And then I'm going to put that lovely shadow on. So again, with the white selected, I'm going to go to shadow, go to strong, custom. I'm actually going to change my angle because my sun is hitting the radish. And this is where I'm getting a bit particular. My sun is coming in here from this angle. So I'm going to just change the angle of it so that it works a wee bit better. There it is. And I want my distance not too far away. All we do is we just want a nice little subtle line. And I'm going to click on color, my little dropper, choose that background. That's pretty cool. I'm happy with that.
Very nice.
And then last but not least, I'm just going to duplicate this one and do radish. Didn't type it because I didn't double click. Good job. We've got radish. Then the cool thing is, because I choose this font, is I can go to extra bold. So even though it's the same font, that's actually a much nicer font, and I can kind of play around with it and see what works, what positions well, and loads of different things. So again, you guys figure it out. I'm just conscious of time now. But yeah, I'll probably play around with that. The layout and things. I kind of want mammoth to be a bit bigger.
I think that looks pretty. Yeah, making mammoth really big. That's great.
Yeah,
and that's a nice arrangement of letter forms, and the spacing's nice. Isn't it fun to do this? It's something that most people don't think about, but once you have the option,
it's nice to play around with it. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so the last thing then to do is just use that nice trick of gripping them. So I'm going to click on one, hold in the shift key, which is just on the left or the right, depending on if you're left or right-handed. And I'm going to click on all 4 of my texts and then grip. I'm just going to click on grip because then, as Kyle pointed out, if I want to rearrange, it's much easier to do so. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll throw it back to Kyle and we'll see how to wrap this up while I fiddle with my text.
That was a great cover design. I love it. Well, I'm done over here. And I want to make sure we mention to everybody, of course, Ruth, because we want to always share good design habits. Up here in the top left, you have a name for your file. And always remember to change the name from untitled and a series of letters and numbers to an actual name. So mine says Kyle-RDD, Roald Dahl Day, cover. So I've changed the name of the file, and that way it's easy for me to find later. Okay, so make sure you do that. Now, once you've got this cover, you can do a couple of things. You can download it, and you'll just make it a PNG, which is a really commonly used image type, file type. So I hit download, and it's going to go ahead and save that for me. All good. All right. The other thing you can do is you can share it with people. So if you tap on share, you can say publish to web, and that will create a link. And you can take that link and you can email it to everybody, or you can text it to people, or you can put it up on the web and then share it however you like. But this is a unique URL, completely yours for your design. But now we're going to move on to the second part of our design challenge for today, which is we're going to be making a little video, a book trailer for James and the Giant Peach. Now it's a video, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to go back with a little colorful A here to our home screen. And you'll notice that right here where it says, what do you want to make? You have a couple of options there, and you can say video. It's the third option. I'll tap on video. It's going to ask me what kind of video do you want to make, okay? And you'll see a bunch of different formats here, all right? We're going to be doing a YouTube video file format. This is a standard 1920 by 1080 pixels. And I'm going to say right here, create from scratch. A blank video document, okay? Now, as before, I want to make sure I name this something clever. So I'll just come right up here, and I have my title, untitled. I'm going to tap on that, and we're going to title that RDD, Roald Dahl Day Book Trailer. There we go. And that's going to rename my file, and now I'm ready to go. Now it knows that I'm using video, so first thing it's going to do is it's going to give me under media options to search for video, okay? And my idea is I want to announce first the title of the book, okay? James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. That's it. So I'm going to be using my voice to narrate that, and I want to have some kind of a picture on the screen. So we know that James and his giant peach go floating out on the ocean, just like in my book cover design, I use the ocean with the orange. So I'm just going to type ocean and see what comes up. All right, now we have a lot of any of right here. I like this. So I'll go ahead and add that to my canvas. There it is. And once I've done that, you'll notice that we get what's called down here a timeline. And this is telling us, A, how long our video is. There's a little 11.2 seconds down there, okay, in the bottom left corner. But it's also giving us what's called a playhead. That's this little black shape that looks like a shield kind of a shape, right? Or a badge. And if I grab that, I can do what's called scrubbing. Scrubbing means I can move forwards or backwards through the video clip. All right? So give that a try. And I can also just hit play and watch how the video looks. All right. Now, for me to say James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl does not take 11 seconds. So once I've done my narration, I'm going to shorten this video clip, okay? And it's really easy to do that. If you look over here on either end, okay, you have these two lines that show up when you hover over them. I can simply tap there and drag backwards, and you'll notice it's telling me how long the video clip is, okay? Those numbers are changing. So I'm going to make that a little shorter. I think I'll do it maybe like 5 seconds. We'll come back to maybe here. And I can always lengthen it again later if I need to, but for now, I think that's probably going to be just fine. You can count in your head 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, and figure out about how long that is. Now, of course, we need a title, right? James and the Giant Peach. So this time, just to make things really easy, I'm going to add the text, okay, one at a time. And I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to use the same font because we don't want to stretch this out too long. We want you to have a chance to make the video. So let's go to text, all right, and add your text. Here we go. James, all right. And we'll just go ahead and make that a nice bright white so it bounces off the water there. We can see it very clearly, okay? And we'll use a really thick, heavy font. Let's see. James, wow, that's cool. Can't miss that, right? Now look at this space between the J and the A. What do you do in a case like that? It almost looks like J Ames, right?
Yeah.
You can select the J, okay? Click and drag, select the J, And remember this little guy here, we have our letter spacing. Just go ahead and shrink it down. Okay. And you can get it closer to the A.
Nice.
So there's a handy little trick there.
That's a really good trick, yeah.
There's James. All right. And then we just need to have and the. So we'll do and the. And it's got the letter spacing super tight. That's easy for me to fix. And the. And once again, I like your trick with the view all. I can see it really clearly. That's nice. I like this. And the.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go back and we'll go ahead and make that white. Okay, so once again, I'm going to fill it with white, James. And the. Make that smaller. And then I'll just do giant peach as one line. Okay. Mm-hmm. James and the giant peach. Okay. And once again, we have these nice recommended fonts. I'll go to view all. Oh, wow. So cool. I like that. Giant peach. That's pretty cool. Go ahead. I'll make that a little smaller. And we'll stick that right there. And that is also going to be white. Or could I maybe use a different color? Sure, why not? We'll just go ahead and change the color right here. We'll go to custom. And we'll use something kind of like more of a peachy kind of a color. Like that. That's kind of fun. Now, if we want that to be totally legible, what's a trick we can use? Don't worry, you can use things like an outline. Like that. Let's go ahead and make that outline white. Look at that. How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
Make it pop. So I've got my text. Great. James and the giant peach. All right. And I can just make all of that. Select it. Maybe pull it over here. And shrink it down a little bit. All right, so that's going to pop up here to the right because on the left, what I want to happen is for the peach to show up. Okay, so let's go to media and we'll search for a photo, not a video, a photo of a peach. Peach. Aha, this one looks pretty perfect right there. Now you know the trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Select the photo. And we're going to remove the background for this photo. All right. So I'm just waiting for that option to show up. Right now, it's downloading that image from the Creative Cloud or the Adobe Cloud or stock library of images. And while I wait for that to happen, I'm just going to make it the size I want, more or less. And Ruth had this super cool idea. I love this, of animating this peach to enter into the scene for our trailer, okay? And the way it's going to work is you have your options down here for animation. If I tap on animation, there are 3 ways you can animate. You can have something animate into your scene. You can have something animate while it's in the scene. That's looping. Or you can have something animate out, okay? So it disappears. So we're going to go to in. And here's the idea. We'll have it grow because that is what happens to the peach, right? Yeah. So I'll tap on grow. And one of the things that's happening is it's growing really fast. You can see that happening, right? So I'll just stretch it out for about 4 seconds right there. And now you can see, that's cool, all right? And we can make it even bigger, slide it over here. And now if I go back for my animation, still not letting me remove the background. I'm going to save it and then just refresh. And you can do this anytime you want, folks. If you refresh your page, okay, a lot of times up here for me in Chrome, that's in the top left, you can get Express to sort of kick it in gear and get thinking, doing its thing. Up.
Yeah,
wake it up. That's a good way of putting it. So tap on it, remove the background, and we've got our animation, we've got our movie, and we've got our text for our title, okay? And let's hit play and see what that does. Here we go. Ta-da! Pretty fun, right?
Yeah.
So Ruth, what I need to do now is just add a bit of audio over this. Okay, and then I can do another scene and I'll kick it over to you. So I'm going to do my audio. The way to add audio is to go again to media over here and then come up to audio. And here you have this option, record voiceover. So here we go. There's an option here to start recording. Once I hit start recording, it'll give me a countdown. And when it goes to 0, I can talk. Here we go. James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. All right. Now here it's adding my voiceover. See that? But it's stuck on the next scene. And the reason for that is my playhead was all the way over to the right.
At the end, yep.
It's not a problem. I can simply tap on it and drag it all the way over here. And let's go ahead, take this scene here. I don't need it anymore. We'll just shorten that, and we'll take this one and we'll lengthen it just to make sure I don't cut off any of the audio.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how it sounds. Here we go. James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl.
That sounds great.
Got it. Okay. Now I can just shorten that a bit, shorten this a bit. And now we're all set for the next scene. So Ruth, do you want to give something like this a try?
Yeah. So I'll just do that. Again, we're just repeating what Kyle has already done, so it'll hopefully work. I just realized we forgot one thing in here, which is how to rename. So Kyle and I are kind of infamous.
Oh, yeah, I renamed mine, but maybe my voice cut out. I'm sorry. Ruth.
Oh, it must have. Okay, so you just click up in the top left and you can rename it. I've already typed mine, so Ruth and the Mammoth Radish. The reason is if I hit download now, my file will be called that rather than untitled. So Kyle, you must have already shown that, but maybe it did cut out. So what I'm going to do then is exactly the same as what Kyle's already done. We're going to get our opening video in. So I'm going to click on the plus and I'm going to go to video, which is our suggested size, or you can type in video as well. So I'm just going to click on video, makes it really easy to do. Because we've selected video, it's already given us our little video bar at the bottom. And I'm going to start off by getting ocean because we want that lovely water to start us off. So I think that's the one you chose. Yeah, I think I'll choose that one as well. I quite like it, although I think I'm going to stretch it so it's only the water that's seen. Makes it a bit creepier because it's like nothing is there.
Oh,
and yes,
I like that.
Yeah, it's like the open ocean. And so I've just stretched it out. And then what I'm going to do is I might resize or re-lengthen mine once I've got my audio recorded, which I'm happy enough with. So I've got my video in. I can double check it down here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in our text. Now, I'm not going to take as long as I did last time on the text. I'm just going to get everything in and then I will play around. So we've got James. Probably just going to go to my classic font just because I'm doing it quick. So we've got James here. And then I'm just going to create another text box. I'm just going to get all my text in and then I can edit it. So James and I'll just duplicate that. And I'll go Giant Peach. So exactly the same idea, but we're just kind of playing around with it. And what I might do is just do James. This looks a bit weird. You can't even really see it. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to change the fill to white. So you can hopefully see it a wee bit easier while I'm playing around with my text. I just realized it didn't change the font, which is nice. Hey, that looks better. That one is. And that one is. So the cool thing is about these different fonts is if you choose a font that has one of these little drop-down arrows, wait, that's not there. If you choose one of the fonts that has those drop-down arrows, you're going to have lots of different what's called weights, which Kyle's already explained, which basically means you get the same, you get like 18 fonts in one, which is really nice. So I'm going to choose the extra black for Giant Peach. I'm going to choose something a bit lighter for Anda because again, it's not that it's not important, it's just not as important as everything else. So I'll choose light. And then for James, I'll maybe just choose something like medium. Yeah, something like that. So you can play around with it. You can kind of see what works for you. And see what you really like the look of. If I select both of them and move them, it will tell me if both are centered, which I really like. whenever I'm playing around with layouts and things.
I think that looks really balanced. I like it.
Yeah, it's quite nice. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do your little trick of the outline, because I love putting an outline in. And I'm going to put a peach outline, same again. So I'm going to choose this. I'm going to go to, oh, hold on, outline. And I'm going to choose custom. I'm going to try and get like a peachy color, which would be like just an off red, like that sort of a color. It's more orange, but we'll go with that. Outline thickness. Need to add my outline first. That's why I was like, why is this not letting me choose my color?
Aha.
So change your thickness first, then you can change your color. So we want that peachy color. And then if you do a really nice chunky outline, what's cool is it all blends together, which is really cool and just makes it look a bit more interesting. So again, you can play around with lots of this stuff. I'm probably going to change James to capital because I think it looks better. And we'll maybe bring that letter spacing down a wee bit. So with that, you can kind of play around with what you like. But again, I'm going to select all my text and I'm going to group it. Nothing that you guys haven't seen before. You'll be experts at this by the end. And I'm going to put mine just here. I think down at the bottom, because I'm going to try that out and see what works. Then I'm going to go to media and I'm going to type in peach and go to photos, because the videos kind of are very limited for peaches. And yeah, as we find out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose a peach. Very nice. Same as what we did before. I'm going to remove the background. Just takes a wee bit longer with the video. Nice. And then I'm going to just do something a wee bit different. Not that Cal's wasn't great, because it was my idea about the grow. Instead, I'm going to go animation and I'm going to go to looping. So I'm not going to have it come in. I'm just going to have it there. And I'm going to make it bob like it's in the water.
That's great.
Which is cool. And you can bring the intensity down and the speed down. So it kind of looks like it's sort of bobbing on the waves, which looks really cool. And you can kind of play around with that. You can position it wherever you want. I'm probably just going to make this a wee bit smaller, move it over here, and then my peach can be bigger. So something like that. And that's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that layout. And you can kind of see there's it sort of bobbing along. I mean,
that works really well. I like that.
It works okay. And what then I'll do is I'll record the audio. Don't forget our audio is found here in this here. So I'm actually just going to copy this so I have it in front of me when I record, because I will never, oh no, that's not our audio. Our audio is not that. I'm being silly. Our audio is just reading the title. I'm getting ahead of myself, Kyle. That's
no, but I think that's good. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'll do that next if you like. That is okay, cool. After you, but please do your title and then I'll go ahead and show them how to do that. Smart.
So I'm just going to do record voiceover. I can see it's all working. So I need to turn this way because that's where my mic is. So you want to make sure you're close enough to your mic, but not too close. You don't want to be hitting that red, because then it's going to sound really crackly. And I'm going to do start recording. So 3, 2, 1. James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. Finish recording. So nice and simple. I'm going to move my voiceover over a wee bit because I don't want it to start at the beginning. I want to have like a wee bit of time at the beginning. And then you can see I can kind of move using these little handles. I can have my video last a wee bit longer. So then what we've got is so there you go. So that's us ready to go with our next scene, and I'll hand it over to Kyle, who's ready to go with everything that we've got to do, because we only have about, what have we got?
Just enough time.
Yeah, just enough time. We're good.
So I've got a tree here because they are in a tree when the James and the insects get together and the peach falls out of the tree and off they go. I could have put, peach tree, and I could try to search for peach tree. I'm not so confident I'll get a video of a peach tree. Just because that just seems to me like a really specific thing. but I was wrong. Look at that, folks. I can't, well, I should never have underestimated Express. Shame on me.
That's true.
I
was going to say the same.
There we go. All right, so there is our video for the next scene. Now, for this part, I want to narrate, like Ruth just said, from here. Through a series of peculiar and magical happenings, James finds himself in a giant peach with a bunch of friendly giant insects for traveling companions. I've just highlighted all of that text, and I'm going to copy it, Command-C or Control-C, right? Copy it. Okay, you could also right-click on it and say copy. And then here, I'm just going to use the text tool to add some text, right? And then just copy that right there, okay? And I can take all of that text and make it a lot smaller. I'll just size that down. And even though it's part of my video now, I can always remove it later, right? That's the key. So I'm going to make that a bit more legible. There we go. And now when I do my audio recording, I'll be able to see this text, okay? And I'll make sure I can read it. I'll make it white. There we go. All right, I'm all set. So I'll go back now to my media and then audio and record my voiceover. So here we go. Through a series of peculiar and magical happenings, James finds himself in a giant peach with a bunch of friendly giant insects for traveling companions. All right, so that wound up being, let's see, 9.9 seconds. So what I can do with this peach tree right here, this clip, is I can simply copy it, okay, by hitting Control-C or Command-C. And when I go to my next scene here, I can just paste it, okay? And it pastes it right in there. And then I've got the same clip playing twice for my narration. Now coming back to this clip right here, okay, I can now get rid of that text. I don't need it, all right? But what I do need are a couple of photos of some insects, right? So if I hit play, through a series of peculiar and magical, I can hear my text, right? I'm going to then add in a grasshopper. I'm going to go to Media, Photos, search for a grasshopper. Grasshopper. Perfect. Now I've got a bunch of little grasshoppers. So fun. Okay. And let's see. I think all of these are pretty fun. I think maybe a praying mantis is not a grasshopper. Trying to fool me there, Express. But we could maybe use this grasshopper right here. And we're going to make him bigger, rotate him a bit. And we'll just throw them right there. And we'll remove the background. And just like we've done before with animation, simple animation for the peach, we can make our grasshopper wiggle around a little bit and throw that on there, okay? And that's going to be just a fun animated element. And what you're going to want to do is here, I want to be able to see where the grasshopper shows up. He's going to be on his own layer, right? You can see that over here. Yeah. And I want to be able to see that layer in my timeline. So down here, we have this option to show layer timing. And if I tap on that, here you can see now this big purple bar. The grasshopper is sitting there for the entire video clip. Yep. I'm going to drag from the left and have him show up about here, halfway through. Okay. And I'm going to tap on him, go to animation. And let's just do a in animation of, let's say, maybe pop. Pops open like that. We go to looping then, and we can make him do a little bit of a jitter, okay? So now we can watch what happens with the voiceover. Series of peculiar and magical happenings, James finds himself in a giant peach with a bunch of friendly giant insects. So I noticed there that what happens is, I mentioned insects in the second part of the clip. So all I can do is copy and then come here to this clip and paste. And now I've got him showing up over here, okay? Very simple. I can come back here and we can get rid of the grasshopper by hitting delete. And now if I play back, through a series of peculiar and magical happenings, James finds himself in a giant peach with a bunch of friendly giant insects. There you go. So you can carry on making these, and when you're done, here's what you want to do. Once you've got your book trailer done, you can either, again, download, Okay, and that's going to make an MP4, which is a video file format.
Mhm.
You can also go to share as before and publish it to the web and create a link. So if I do that, it gives me the option to title it whatever I like and then publish the link. And once that link is ready to go, you can copy and paste that and share it with anybody you like. So Ruth, I think that's us, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much us. The main thing just to point out is obviously that last little bit was not rushed, but maybe you might have missed out. So don't forget this video, you can access it at any time. So if you want to, you could pick it up tomorrow or whenever else you have it and just finish it off. But yeah, that's pretty much us. Thank you so much. That was really fun. It's great to celebrate Roald Dahl Day. He's the best.
Huge fan, lifelong fan. He's the best. I agree.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for being with us. And I hope your videos turn out great. Don't forget to complete these if you want swag.
Oh yes, that's right. And that's right. And make sure you'll get an email about that. So teachers just follow that email link and you can get that sorted. And you can also sign up for other courses that we're running throughout the year. For the Adobe leaders, there's a lot of different ones kind of scheduled in. So just keep checking that as well. And yes, the link's there. Very good, Cal. That's great.
There it is. Sign up for the next session and we can keep these going.
But all yes, right. So have a great day celebrating one of the best authors. He's really the best. And yes, thank you so much. It was great.
All right.
Bye.
Cheers.